I've seen so many musicians that have been playing the drums for years, but they're just kind of stagnant. Maybe they made quick progress in the very beginning couple of months of starting drumming, but after that, their progress really tapered off and they're at that intermediate level. Today, I'm going to be giving you 7 habits that all really great drummers have that will prevent you from falling into this trap. Habit number 1 is constantly reinforcing the basics. This one may seem really trivial at first, but I've learned that it is actually super important. As drummers, we can really easily fall into the trap of constantly trying to push the envelope, never reinforcing old skills. If you think about your knowledge behind the kit as a building, then your fundamentals are like the base of the building. And every single time you learn something new, you're building on top of this building. You're adding to the height of it. The more you build up on top of the building, the stronger your base has to be able to support all of this weight. If you take a dirk blast, for example, it's a relatively complicated looking pattern at first, but if you know how to do a triple stroke roll, it's basically the exact same thing. It's very similar. This concept applies to literally every single aspect of drumming, but how do we actually implement it? Build the habit of practicing at least 10 to 15 different rudiments at varying tempos. Practice at a comfortable tempo, a slightly uncomfortable tempo, and then a really uncomfortable tempo that you're struggling to keep up your form with. And lastly, and possibly most importantly, is practice at an uncomfortably slow tempo. Everyone likes to push the envelope by trying to increase their speed, but what no one does is trying to decrease their speed to an uncomfortably slow tempo. And these slow speeds are actually even more important than going fast when it comes to improving. So you're going to want to stick around to find out why. Also, habit number 4 is going to explain how effective drummers are able to improve inhumanly fast. Practicing at uncomfortably slow speeds is integral to your overall improvement because it's going to force you to find gaps in your technique. Dude, I really wish I had this video to teach me this lesson, because I learned this the hard way and, it was super embarrassing. I was in a drum lesson and we were working on playing rudiments in odd groupings while keeping time on both the hi-hat and the bass drum. Whenever I would mess up, I would keep on going, but just increase the speed to try and hide my mistakes. And eventually my instructor told me, like, dude, you have to slow down. So he put on a metronome and he made me play to this metronome. And then that exposed the fact that I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know when I was supposed to accent certain notes. I was covering up the fact that I had no idea how to do it with my speed. After he had me play to the extremely slow metronome, I was forced to consciously think about every single hit I made. And over time, I was actually able to improve to the point where I knew what I was doing. And from there, I could go fast. The struggle I experienced from this was much greater than just staying in my comfort zone and going as fast as I could. But the truth is, you don't improve from being comfortable. And in there is another lesson that leads into this next habit. And that's that all highly effective drummers possess the habit of embracing discomfort. Doing what you don't want to do is the key to improvement. But how does this apply to drumming? If you want to get really good at drums, about 80% of your practice session, even more if you want to, they should consist of things that are uncomfortable. What makes it uncomfortable? Well, humans find it inherently uncomfortable to be doing things that they're bad at. That being said, being bad at something is the only way you can one day become good at something. No one starts doing something as a pro. So what I mean by this is that 80% of your practice session should be dedicated to either learning new things or improving upon old things. Your practice sessions shouldn't sound good. They should sound like a hobbled mess where you're constantly fucking up and having to redo the same exercises over and over again. Another pillar of being uncomfortable is surrounding yourself with people who are better than you, right? Making yourself the dumbest person in the room. You are the average of the people you spend the most time with. So if you spend the majority of your time with people who are better than you at the skill you're trying to improve at, you will naturally get better. This is obviously a rule and there are exceptions. So in the context of drums, this means you're going to be wanting to get a lot of new teachers and learning from a ton of new teachers and then making friends with people who are better than you at drums. If you develop the skill of embracing discomfort while you practice, that will help you so much in your improvement, but it won't matter unless you pay attention to this next habit. Highly effective drummers will set aside time every single day to practice. No matter what day of the week it is, no matter where they are, no matter what they're doing, they will always find a way to make it work, even if it means playing drums on couch cushions. In addition to this, their practice sessions are very similar in terms of what they're practicing and how much effort they're putting in. What do we call this? Consistency. The 4th habit of highly effective drummers is consistency. They practice consistently, both in terms of what they're practicing and how much effort they put in when they do practice. Everyone knows consistency is key. However, there's one case specifically in drumming where consistency is absolutely going to kill your progress and you're really not going to become a great musician if you practice consistency in this case. So you're going to want to stick around and find out what that is. Highly effective drummers are constantly listening to new music because the greatest artists become great by consuming tons of great art and combining them and making even better art. All highly effective drummers build the habit of listening to a wide array of different styles of music and playing a wide array of different styles of music. This is one that I personally struggle with a lot. If you take one look at this channel, I pretty much only play one style of music, and that's something I have to improve upon. All of the aforementioned habits are really good at getting you to improve at drumming. However, if you don't pay attention to this next habit, you will never know if you actually are improving it. Highly effective drummers are obsessed with getting better. They're obsessed with progress. And in order to track said progress, they are constantly recording themselves and watching themselves play, looking for all of the mistakes in their technique to then build upon. If you want proof of this, think of your favorite currently living drummer and go on their social media. I guarantee you will find tens, hundreds, maybe even thousands of videos of them playing. And I can tell you from experience, when you post yourself playing drums online, you have watched that clip 10, 20, 30 times over to make sure that everything is perfect. And if it's not perfect, you go back and you re-record it, which forces you to improve upon any mistakes that you're making. No one wants to look bad online, and this is just proof that all of the greatest drummers that you regularly watch make a habit of recording themselves and watching that footage back. All right, I saved the most important habit for last. That way, the most committed people who are actually willing to watch the end of the video get the best advice. So you're gonna wanna stick around for this. The last and most important habit of all effective drummers is that they are constantly thinking about drums. The only way that effective drummers are able to build all of the habits that I mentioned in this video is because they're so obsessed with drums and everything surrounding them. Every hour of the day, no, every minute of the day, they're thinking about some song that they've listened to recently, some beat that they played recently, whatever they practiced yesterday. So how do you build this habit? Well, the trick is that if you clicked on this video, and especially if you watched to this point in this video, I'm willing to wager that you already have the drive to become great, which by extension means that you already possess this habit. Since you stuck around for so long, I am going to give you one last bonus tip, and that's that all effective drummers have a wide array of different beats that they know to apply in any musical context. If you want to get started with some really cool sounding beats, then I'm going to teach you a couple. Go watch this video right here. It's 5 really simple beats that sound really sick.